Welcome to the day 3 video. Like always, pause the video right away, work on these 4 warm-up problems, then come back and see how you did. So you have to make sure when you add or subtract these fractions that you have common denominators, so make sure you're looking for that before you just start adding. Alright, so for number 1, I need to find a common denominator. My common denominator for 5 and 8 is going to be 40. Okay, so to get from 5 to 40, I need to multiply by 8 on top and bottom. So I've got 24 over 40. And for 2/8, I need to multiply top and bottom by 5 to get 10 over 40. So I actually have 24 over 40 plus 10 over 40, which equals 34 over 40. Number 2 is a little bit easier. Okay, I can multiply even just right over here. I only have to change the 2/3 to get to sixths. So this is the same thing as 7 over 6, which I didn't have to change, minus 4 over 6, which is 3 over 6. Okay, bonus points if you can simplify that down to 1/2, but this is the answer that I ultimately need to see. Number 3, they already have a common denominator, so I add the tops together to get 8 over 8. Which we should know equals 1. And then number 4, I need to find a common denominator. You could multiply 9 and 6 together to get 54, but 18 is actually going to be your least common denominator. You have to multiply 1/6 by 3 over 3 to get 3 over 18. You have to multiply 1/9 times 2 over 2 to get 2 over 18. So 3 over 18 minus 2 over 18 equals 1 over 18 for your final answer. That's your simplified answer. If you had done 54ths, you would have had 9 over 54 minus 6 over 54 equals 3 over 54. That would have been an okay answer, but this is the answer that I want to see, that 1 over 18. Okay, so today we're going to be multiplying fractions together. We've done a little bit of multiplying fractions and trying to find common denominators, but we're going to do a little bit more in depth this time. So first, I have a bunch of just regular multiplication products. Okay, answer to a multiplication problem is just called product. Okay, we've done that many times. You guys all know that. When we multiply two fractions together, we still get a product, but I want us to look at this table versus the next table real quick. Our answer when we multiply whole numbers, so whole numbers are our counting numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4. When we multiply, our product is always as big as one of these numbers, or it's bigger. Okay? If one of the numbers is 1, we have the other number. If one of the numbers is 0, we'll have 0. So our product is always going to be another whole number that's gotten bigger. When we multiply fractions, okay, think of the same idea. The bottom number is getting way bigger. Like in this first example, 2 and 4 are relatively small numbers, 8 is bigger. But in a fraction, if the bottom number is big, that means the whole fraction is small. Okay, think of pizza again. If I cut something into 2 pieces, I get to eat a bunch. If I cut a pizza into 8 pieces, I don't get very much if I'm only eating 1 slice. Okay, so our answers are getting smaller when we multiply by a fraction. So I think this might have been Transmath 2. You did arrays where you did 3 rows and 4 columns to represent 3 times 4. And we would have 12 squares, so 3 times 4 is 12. We can do a similar thing with fractions. Okay, I'll go back to this power concept. When multiplying 2 whole numbers greater than 0, the product is never less than either of the whole numbers being multiplied. You multiply by a whole number, your number gets bigger. Your answer gets bigger. You multiply by a fraction, your product gets smaller. Okay, so for multiplying fractions, we start with a generic fraction bar. And then they cut that second one, for whatever reason, doesn't ultimately matter which order, into thirds because of the bottom number. There's 1, 2, 3 spots. They colored in 2 of them because of the top number, 2. Now I'm multiplying by 1/2, so basically what I would do, if you lock your screen, you can do it on your iPad. I don't think my screen's locked right now, and you won't be able to tell if I did or not. But you turn your iPad 90 degrees. So basically, if it's sitting the long ways in front of you, you want it to sit the tall ways in front of you. And then start over and break it into the other fraction. So we've got 2 sections there for the 1/2, and then they colored in or slashed out 1. Now if we look carefully, I'm going to erase my red so we can see a little bit clearer. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares, and then there are 2 of them that got colored in twice. So that means I have 2 that got colored in twice out of 6 squares. 1/2 times 2/3 equals 2 out of 6. So there's a little better representation. The 2/3 was the blue. The 1/2 was the diagonal slices. The part that colors twice, that is our final answer. So there's 2 out of the 6. So 1/2 of 2/3 is 2/6. When we multiply 2 proper fractions, we take a portion of a fraction. Our answer is smaller than what we started with. So I want you to try these problems. So pause the video and try these problems. So the directions for the first part are just circle the area model. So circle the picture that represents the problem. And then activity 2, Activity 2 is the exact reverse of that. They give you the picture. Which math problem matches the picture? Scroll back too far. All right. So for number 1, 1/4 times 4/5. I need to look for something that has got either 4 or 5 columns. So this one's got 5 columns. This one's got 5 columns. They all got 5 columns. Okay. But if it's got 5 columns, then it's got to have 4 rows. This row, this one only has 2 rows, so it's not that. That would have been 1/2. Okay, that one's got 4, and that one's got 4. Okay, so that looks good, but now I need to actually pay attention to which things are colored in. So for the 4/5, I had 4 out of the 5 colored in. So 4/5, 4/5, they got 4 out of the 5 colored in for those 2. And for the 1/4, I need 1 out of the 4. So 1 out of the 4. This has got 1 row out of 4. This has got 2 rows out of 4. So it's not C. My answer is B. Number 2, looking for 1/2, I think is the easiest. So I already know, just looking right away, that A is going to be my answer. The reason I know this is because I've got 1 out of 2 right there. This one is cut into 4 pieces and 5 pieces, so it can't be a 1/2 anywhere. This one's cut into 4 pieces and 5 pieces again, so it can't be that one. Okay, but I should double check. So I had 1/2 and then 4/5. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 5 were colored in, so 1/2 times 4/5 equals 4/10. And then number 3, 1/3. Okay, I can eliminate A right away because that is 1/2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7ths. Okay, so I need 1/3. 1/2 isn't going to cut it. This one's cut into 3 pieces this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces that way. And then that one is also cut into the appropriate number of pieces. But B represents 2/3 times 6/7 instead of 1/3 times 6/7, which equals 6/21. So what I didn't really say before, but it goes back to what we talked about in lesson 2. When we multiply these fractions, we just do the top number times the top number. That equals our new top number. And the bottom number times the bottom number equals our bottom number. So like 1 times 4 is 4, 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 6 is 6, 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so down here I've got 2/3, and then this is going to be 3/4. So I need 2/3 times 3/4, which equals 6/12. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things colored in out of 12. This one I've got 1/2 on the side this way, and I've got 2/3 from the top. So 1/2 times 2/3, which equals 2 out of the 6. And for the third one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got 1 out of 4 this way, and 1 out of 2 this way. 1/2 times 1/4, or 1/4 times 1/2 equals 1/8. Okay, so for all of these, I did the horizontal things first and then the verticals. If I would have had, for number 1, that's the exact same answer. I'm totally okay if you had flipped those things around if this wasn't a multiple choice question, if it was just write the problem that matches the area model. All right. So then this next part, we're going to be talking about mean and median. This is where they wanted us to do a survey in class, but we're watching videos, so clearly that's not really possible. So I'm just going to talk about what our median and our mean are. So for our mean, okay, another word for this is average. We add up all the numbers. Okay, I'll make that F look more like an F. Then we divide that answer by how many numbers there were. This isn't new. We've done mean a few different times, so it's just a refresher. Median, I usually think of middle. Okay, if I have a medium-sized t-shirt that's in the middle of small and large. The best way to think about this is to list out all of your numbers. So I'm just going to throw out a bunch of random numbers, and we're going to find our mean and our median for those. Okay, so if I have the numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 6, 12, 14. I don't know how good of numbers these are, so give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure we got good numbers. Okay, I like those numbers. That's what we're going to go with. Our mean, the first thing we do is we add them all up, right? So 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 6, 12, 14. If I add those up, 1 and 2 make 3, plus 4 is 7, 8 is 15, plus 9 is 24, plus 6 is 30, 32, 36. 3 plus 1 is 5, so I'd have 56 divided by, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. 8 goes into 56 7 times. Okay, so our mean is 7. Okay, that's what we've done before. Our median, this one is a little bit different. So all I'm going to do is rewrite all of the numbers, but from smallest to biggest. So notice, like I threw a 6 here after I'd already thrown in an 8 and a 9. So I'm going to reorganize these. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14. Okay? And now I'm going to find the middle number. The way I do this is I'm going to cross off the smallest and the biggest. The smallest and the biggest. The smallest and the biggest. Now I've got to the point where there's 2 possible outcomes. Okay? I have an even number of numbers. I had 8 numbers. So I need to find something exactly in the middle of 6 and 8. Okay? So the way I do that is I find the average of those 2 numbers. So 6 plus 8 divided by 2. So it's 14 divided by 2, which in this case is 7. So our median was 7. That's awesome. Okay, now I'm going to add one more number to this list, and it's going to change both answers. So I'm just going to slide off to the side here again. So if I had 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14, and then I'm going to throw in 32. I'm going to change things up. So I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know that these first ones added up to 56. So the entire thing is going to add up to 88, right? Ooh, I'm going to change this number. I didn't think something through all the way. So instead of 32, I'm going to have 35. Okay, because that's going to add up. Nope, 34. That's what I want. 34. I'm trying to pick numbers that are going to be nice since it's their first time talking about it. So I'm going to have 34. 56 plus 34 is going to be 90. Now I have 9 total numbers. So our mean for this example would be 10. Our median, I already have them in order. We go back and forth, and then I get to one number. In this case, it's going to be 8. So your mean and your median, sometimes are going to be the same number, and sometimes they are not. Median, in my opinion, is pretty easy to find, but you have to be careful because there's 2 possible outcomes. If you have an even number, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever, of numbers, as you cross off back and forth, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, you're going to get down to 2 numbers. When you get down to those 2 numbers, if you cross them off, you would have nothing. You don't get to say that you have no median. You would add those 2 numbers together and divide by 2. So in the case of problems that we had right here, it was 6 plus 8, 7 was perfectly in the middle. I could have had it be like 6 and 32, depending on the numbers I gave you. You'd have to add them up and divide by 2. Or if you have an odd number of numbers, so like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, you'll cross off small, big, small, big, small, big, small, big, and you'll get down to one number, and then that number is your median. You don't have to do any extra work. All right? So that's what a median is. Your job now is to work on your homework. So you'll go back in your OneNote to the section marked homework. Again, you can't miss it. If you are somehow missing it, let me know, because it's literally like you press that arrow on the left side, and then under Unit 1, you have homework. My folders here are going to be a little bit different because I've got extra stuff going on, but you're under this Unit 1 right there. You click homework right there. There you go. This was Lesson 3, so you're going to be doing the Lesson 3 homework. Hope everybody has a great day.